that worked with me, that walked with me when I was going through my lowest time. And is there anybody in the house that can thank God that though you may have been going through some storms and though you may have been going through some problems, there was somebody that walked with you and talked you through it. There were some people that God put in your path that helped you make it through all the stuff that you can't. Y'all sitting there like y'all ain't never been through nothing. But is there anybody that had some people that told you every now and then you can make it? I know it don't seem good. I know what the doctor said. But in spite of what you're going through, we still gonna make it. And here it is. I'm not gonna let you go through it by yourself. I don't know about you, but the worst thing in the world is to have friends just by name. I don't need you to be a friend by name. Don't tell me, call me if you need me. But can you stand with me while I'm going through? He says, I want you to take care of the folks that took care of me. See, and never, brothers and sisters, never get amnesia when you get out of what you're going through. Never forget the people that carried you along the way. He says, I want you to take care of them because they were the ones that took care of me. So he says now, he goes to verse 4. He says, so now I'll come to encourage you. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say rejoice. Now this is not popular because a lot of times when you're going through you want to have pity parties. But Paul now says I want you to rejoice in the Lord always. Here it is. So I want you to rejoice while you're going through. That's not popular right now. He says stop talking about the stuff you're going through and praise God that you are going through it. See, because there's some things that you think are going to take you out. But see, every now and then you got to thank God that he wouldn't bring me to it if he couldn't bring me through it. And so he says, I want you to rejoice in the Lord always. I want you to rejoice going in. He said, but when you get out, don't stop rejoicing. He said, and again I say, rejoice. And is there anybody in the house that knows you don't have a choice but to rejoice? I don't have a choice but to give God glory. After all God has already brought me through, after he's brought me through dangers seen and unseen, I don't have a choice but to rejoice. Anybody came here with a praise on your lips because you know that things as bad as things are, they can always be worse? Tell your neighbor, I'm going all in. I'm going all in. He said, now I got to make sure that you know you got to rejoice no matter what it looks like on the outside because you got something greater on the inside. So rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say rejoice. Verse 5 now he says, let your gentleness, let your moderation be known to all men. Let people see how we handle stuff. See, the body of Christ needs to learn that there's people on the outside that need to be saved, but they're looking for the difference. How is it whenever you go through something, you losing your head, you losing your mind, you going off on people just like they are. And they say, well, what's different between me and you? He said, let your gentleness be known among all men. He said, let the hand of the Lord be shown. See, as long as I know God's got his hand on my life, there's nothing that can come against me. As long as I know that God before me, who can be against me? When I know God's hand is upon me, I don't have to sweat the small stuff. He says, let your gentleness, let your moderation be known among all men. Says, but then he says, goes on to verse 6, he says, be careful for nothing, but in everything through prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto God. And is there anybody here that knows that whatever you need, you just need to go to God about it? No matter what you're going through, aren't you glad to know that we serve a God that sits high and looks low and is able to hear me when I pray? Is there anybody that's glad that you can have a little talk with Jesus and tell him all about your problems? Hear your faintest cry, and y'all sitting there like I'm preaching to myself. Well, I guess I might as well. He will answer by and by. Is there anybody that knows that just to talk with him will make everything all right? And when I talk to him, I know he heals me. When I talk to him, I know he'll never let me down. And God is able to do anything but fail. Says you got to be careful for nothing. He says, but in everything through prayer and supplication, let your requests be made known. He says, then God will give you some peace. And see, there's somebody in the house that's going through so much hell in your house. All you need is a little peace. God said, I will give you peace that surpasses all understanding. Sometimes you can be going through so much, and every time people see you, they're looking at you like, how is it you can endure all of that? How is it you can walk around with a smile on your face? Well, I know what happened in your life. I know how much stuff is going on in your house. How can you do it? But you can tell them, I've got peace that surpasses all understanding. Anybody know God will give you peace? He says, I'm going to give you peace. That's verse 7. He says, then verse 8, he moves down. He says, finally, brother, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are holy, whatsoever things are good. He says, those are the things you need to think about. And he says, I want you to get your mind right. Tell your neighbor, get your mind right. See, it's easy to sit and think about how bad things are, but can you think about how good God's been? Can you think about things that God has never failed you before? He said, when you think on these things, it'll change your attitude. When you think about the goodness of Jesus and all that he's done for you, it'll change your attitude. When you think about how many times God has made a way out of no way, it ought to change your thinking. I'm all in today. I'm all in. I'm all in, because here it is. When I think about how many times God has brought me out and brought me over, how can I give up on God when God has never given up on me? Verse 8, he says, I want you to think about those things. He said, but then, he said in verse 9, he said, now, the things that you've seen me do and the things you've heard me do, he says, those are the things you need to work on. See, Paul recognizes, here it is, that he has been the example. And can I encourage everybody in the house? The pastor ain't the only example people see. Can I encourage the deacons and the ministers and the prayer warriors and the pew members? The pastor ain't the only one that people looking at, because there's some of you in the house, you are the only Bible that people will ever read. And if their idea of a Christian comes from you, I've got to ask the question, what kind of example are we setting? See, the reason we invite folks to come to church and they look at us like we're crazy is because they're looking at your example. See, it's easy to put on a three-piece on Sunday and act like a Christian and look like a Christian. But can you act like a Christian Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday? And Saturday night. He says, look at the example that I've set for you. Because I'm not telling you something I read. He said, I'm telling you what I know. And is there anybody in the house that knows God for yourself? You ain't talking about what the Sunday school lesson said, but you know him in the part of your heart. You know him for yourself. Mama may have, Papa may have, but God bless the child that has his own. So now, I can get to verse 10. Because in verse 10, he said, now that you're all in, now you got to go all out. He says, in order to go all out, I'm going to need some help. So in order to help you with verse 10 through 13, I was trying to figure out what's the best way to do it. And if you're going to go all out, I had to go and get some all. I had to go get some all. Because in order for you to go all out, there's some things that all can teach us. Can I help you at the homework today? See, when you look at all is a laundry detergent that's known for doing some things that can help us with our own walk. See, first of all, if you're going to go all out, the first thing that all does, here it is that all performs no matter whether it's hot or cold temperatures. That's good. There, hot performs in hot and cold temperatures. Here it is. Paul now commends them, because he says now the people are trying to help him. He says, I'm glad you're trying to help me now. I know you didn't have an opportunity to help before, but now I'm glad to see at least you offering the help. Isn't it good to know every now and then people, it's good to at least offer the help, even if you ain't going to give it. Just at least act like you're going to help me. I mean, he says, I'm glad that you're at least acting like you want to help me. He said, but not that I speak as in if I'm in want. He said, because watch this, in verse 11, he says, I have learned in whatsoever state I'm in. He said, wherewith I've got to learn to be content. See, there's some people, can I tell you something? And we're not talking about geographically, but let me use it geographically. There's some people that say, I can't make it in hot states. Couldn't function in hot states because that's not for me. Here it is. Some people say, I can't operate in cold states. I don't like cold temperatures. I like being where I can be comfortable. Here it is. But can you be a person that it doesn't matter where God puts you? It doesn't matter where God places you. I still got to perform no matter where I am. And see, there's some people, if I can only depend on you in good times, I don't need you. If I can only look for you when everything is going well in my life, I don't need you. But can you operate when things ain't going so well? I know I'm talking to at least 5 people in the house that you know how to perform in hot or cold temperature. I can perform when everybody like me. I can still perform when you rolling your eyes at me. Yes, I can. Is there anybody that says I can perform in hot or cold temperature? He said, see, I'm not caught up in the hype. He said, I've learned how to be content where I am. Stop talking about what everybody else got and trying to get what they have. Can you be content with where you are? Well, see, so-and-so, they got a nice house and they got a nice car. And now you going over trying to be like so-and-so. Now you can't even pay your car note you got now. Can you be content with what you have? Now, there is a difference in contentment and complacement. See, I'm not complacent in where I am. I'm content with what I have. See, I'm not worried about what I don't have. I'm happy for what I do have. See, y'all missed that one there. See, there's some folks, stop complaining about what you don't have and thank God for the little house you do have. Stop complaining about you don't have a new car and thank God he got you one that take you from point A to point B, and if need be, he'll take you to point C. He said, I learned that no matter what state I'm in, I can be content. Sitting around there trying to compare my life to yours. Listen, I don't know what it took for you to get what you had. So all says that it performs in hot and cold temperatures. And the last thing you need is somebody that only performs one way. Because everybody knows life every now and then throws you a different temperature. You might be hot today, but you can be cold tomorrow. I don't have no help in the house. Things might be going your way today, but tomorrow. And I don't need nobody that can only be with me when I'm hot. See, here it is. I like folks, and that's what Paul said, you got to take care of the folks that was with you in the cold. See, because when you get hot, everybody want to be around you. See, back then you didn't want me, but now I'm hot. You already want me. I don't need nobody that can just roll with me when I'm hot. But can you suffer the cold with me? You know the people that say, I know you could do it. I believed in you the whole time. But when I was cold, you didn't even offer me a blanket. He said, I will learn how to perform in hot and cold temperatures. Says, all now performs in hot and cold temperatures. But then here it is. Let me tell you the second thing about all. This is good. This is good stuff. All also produces low suds. All produces low suds. All produces low suds. See, Paul now continues his story. He says, because what I've learned is through my history, I've learned how to do a lot of things. He said, but whatever I go through, I've learned to be able to adjust myself. He says, I'm in verse 12 now. He says, because I've learned to be content, he said, now I know both how to be abased and I know how to be abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, to abound, and here it is, to suffer need. Here's what all does. Here it is. See, because there are some people that because you think your life is supposed to go a certain way. See, there's certain people that when life doesn't go your way, you start producing suds. And you keep talking about all the stuff you're going through, and you blowing up. Every time the rent due, you blowing up. Every time you lose your job, you going off, and you producing all these suds. And here it is, you going off on your coworkers, you going off on your boss, you going off on the dog in the house. You just keep on producing suds. He said, but watch this, because I done been there, done that, I done had the best, I done had the worst. I've been hungry, and I've been full. So he said, I learned not to produce no suds. It's okay. I don't have to complain about where I am, because the same God that brought me to it is going to bring me through it. And see, when you know you got all power because God gives it to you, I don't have to produce no suds. Tell your nigga, don't produce no suds. You don't have to produce no suds. How is you always complaining? Somebody asks you how you doing. Well, it could be better, but it could be worse. But I ain't gonna complain. How you doing? Well, I will complain, but it won't do me. So here it is. Get this. I want you to know that no matter what you go through in life, you got to learn how to go through it. You ain't the only one going through problems. You ain't the only one been hungry before. Heck, we all hungry right now. And if God don't tarry, we will still be hungry later on. Now, if I'm going to make it through life, I got to learn how to be up and how to be down. I got to learn how to have and how to want. I got to learn that if life has a way of drowning you in some problems, you got to learn to build a bridge and get over it. Tell your neighbor, just get over it. Just get over it. So what you had a problem childhood? So what? People didn't treat you right. So what? People talk about you. So what? You didn't have the best available stuff when you grew up. Get over it. And somebody needs to teach our children, you ain't gonna always have everything you want. You ain't gonna always be able to have designer jeans and designer shoes. You better pay less instead of always trying to pay more. Some of you need to learn how to get the max for the minimum. And Walmart jeans walk just like Neiman Marcus jeans. How to be a base and how to be a bottom. Anybody there? See, what I like about folks that got a little bit now is because you ain't always had what you had. You ain't have a witness. All right, here it is. Let's do roll call. If you ever put some bologna on the skillet and cook it till it bubbled up, will you stand on your feet? If you ever, okay, you sit down. I just want to make sure I roll with the bougie folks. If you ever had to eat by any sausages or any meat out of a can, spam, whatever. Hear this. I know you eating ham now, but remember when you ate spam then? Matter of fact, remember when you didn't even have no meat and you made a mayonnaise sandwich? Now you learn how to be the base. Oh, I know you can order your steak with medium well now, but you ain't always had steak, baby. You walk around talking about I get my suits tailor-made. Well, see, you used to get your suit from Uncle Taylor. And I remember where you came from. If it hadn't been for somebody handing you down some stuff, you wouldn't be able to get a hand up. Somebody say, get your britch on. Everybody bad like me. Somehow, Paul says, I produce low suds. Here it is. I'm sorry. I'm feeling a little TLC spirit, but I don't want no suds. Suds is someone that can get no love from me. I don't want no suds. Says, now be careful when people are always producing suds. Every time something happens, they producing suds. You got to be a person that's able to keep it cool. Can you say cool, calm, and collected no matter what happens? See, when you produce low suds, it scares folks. Because see, they don't even know how to come at you then. They want to get in your business, but they don't know how to ask you. And be careful, because people that produce their own suds put suds on you. You ever found yourself talking to negative people, and all of a sudden you start being negative yourself? You know, when you wash dishes, you know, the suds may be in the water, but before you look up, it's all over you. Paul said, I've learned how to be abased and how to be bound. He says, I've learned how to be hungry and how to be full. That's why it shouldn't surprise most of us when they start talking about this recession. We didn't even know what it was. We already was hungry. Here it is. We was already living paycheck to loan. Not paycheck to paycheck, paycheck to loan. That's why it's a cash and a dance place on every corner. He said, I learned how to be both. That's what tripped me out about folks that used to be ghetto, now you bougie, now you bougetto. You ever seen people that talk about what you ain't gonna do now? Your lights off and you looking around like, what am I supposed to do now? Here it is, get a candle. And the first time your lights been off. Learn to produce low suds. Whatever life throws my way, I can handle it. Anybody ever believe that? No matter what comes my way, I can handle it. You getting all messed up over what happened? Hey, man. Come on. Life ain't been no crystal stairs for nobody. So I learned how to be a base and how to be bound. But now, this is what I love about all. This is what I love about all. Lastly, prevent stains from sticking. Here it is. Because of that, Paul says, after all I've been through, the only thing that helped me make it through, he says, is that I learned that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Is there anybody in the house that has had some stains in your life? Now, I'm not talking to the perfect folks. I'm talking about the folks, here it is, because some stains people put on you. Some stains you ain't do, they just put it on you. You ever been wearing white and somebody came and put their hands on you and now your white is all messed up? Not because of what you did, but because of what somebody else did. But then, here it is, don't get it twisted. The other stains didn't come from nobody else. There's some stuff you put on you, and you put on you again, and you promised you weren't going to do again, but you put on you some more. And see, before you know it, all these spots are all over you, and you sit around talking about, I got so many spots that I can't make it. Here it is. Sometimes you can have so many stains on you that you feel like you don't deserve nothing better. Oh, I'm talking to y'all today. Sometimes I've been through so much stuff in my life that I feel like I don't deserve the best. But here it is. What you got to recognize is no matter how bad it's been, you got to know that no matter what it is, I can do it. Now here it is. This is not saying, usually when we hear this, we think that's because we're super Christian and we can just do it. No, watch this. What Paul says here, he says, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Here it is. But the better translation is, I can endure all things through the example of Christ. that gives me strength. See, if I were to place my stuff against what Jesus went through, it really ain't that deep. If I were to measure the stuff I'm dealing with the stuff he had to deal with, it ain't that deep. And so what I got to learn to do is learn that God is able to lift some stain. I don't have any help in the house. Anybody know that we serve a God that is the stain picker up? Yeah. He lifts the stain. So here it is. So all prevent stains from sticking. So if you were to use all, it says you got to recognize that you put what you have and then you apply all to it. See, take this for what it is. No matter what you're dealing with, know that you got it all. All that I need is already in me. Because if you got God on the inside, and he says, listen, don't worry about the world because I have already overcame the world. So no matter how many stains you got on your life, no matter how many blemishes you got on your life, recognize Jesus has already lifted the stain. Hey, can I help anybody in the house? Because when you know you got all, when you know that you've been given all, it says that the old songwriter says that I was sinking deep in sin, far from the peaceful shore, very deeply stained within. I was sinking to rise no more. But the master of the sea, he heard my despairing cry, and from the waters he lifted me. Now stain free am I. And is there anybody that knows that God will lift all of your stains? Well, here it is. How in the world can God lift all my stains? No matter what I'm going through, no matter what I'm going through. He says, how is it that God can lift all my stains? Well, I'm glad to let you know that your stains have been lifted. Not because you had all longer detergent, but because he shed his blood. And what can wash away my sins? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. What can make me whole again? Nothing but the blood of Jesus. Oh, how precious is that flow that can make me white and snow. No other help I know. Is there anybody here that knows that God will get it all out? So since God took away all my stains, I've got to go all out for him. Is there anybody in here that knows my heart is fixed and my mind is made up? I'm going all the way with Jesus. If God be for me, who can be against me? Is there anybody say I'm going all out? I'm going all out. I'm going to let what come with me from day to day, because he walks with me and he talks with me. God tells me that I am his own. So if you got some tough things, you don't have to worry about what man puts on you. Because if you got some tough things, you ought to shout it out. Is there anybody here that knows God will clean you up? Is there anybody here that knows that God will take your record off? Is there anybody here that knows God will give you another chance?